Charlotte, but Charlotte's going to be on the show. So we've got Ricochet against Top Dollar. We're going to be getting a Charlotte promo. We're also getting, I believe it's for the tag titles, Usos taking on Drew and Sheamus. So that should be a banger. That should be a lot of fun. So Usos versus Drew and Sheamus for the tag titles. Ricochet, Top Dollar, that is a Royal Rumble qualifying match. So we know we've got that coming up. And as we said, Charlotte, I don't know if we get Ronda. I don't know if she's going to be involved. She probably will, unless that's it and she's going away for a little while. Last week was very interesting because, of course, they changed champions. Didn't expect it. Caught me off guard. And I was saying that I don't know why we had to do it all so quickly. Why did Charlotte have to come back and win the title in the same show? Why didn't she just come back? Because Charlotte coming back is big enough. That's a big talking point. And certainly if you then make a match for this week and you make a championship match for tonight, like we could have been sat here now with a women's title match on the horizon talking about, do you think there's going to be a new champion or not? I couldn't get my head around why did she need to come back and why did there need to be a title change all on the same show. So I'm actually not sure if we're going to be getting Ronda tonight. I don't know if she's on this show. I don't think she's been announced. So maybe there's a chance we don't get her. And that's why they had to do the title change last week. So I'm quite interested. I'm really interested in that. I want to know why that moved as quick as what it did. So hopefully we get some answers tonight. We will. We're going to see Charlotte and we'll find out, obviously, what the future has planned for her. Because if Ronda's on the show, then I'll be even more confused as to why we did that title change last week. If Ronda's not on the show, then of course we've got our answer. We need to talk about the big news as well. We're not hiding away from it. Why would we hide away from it? Why would we shy away from it? We wouldn't. We never shy away from things. Let's talk about it. Let's get into it. It's the elephant in the room. It's the reason why there's so many people around. It's been the talk of the online wrestling community, and we need to talk about it because there's just going to be so many questions unless we don't talk about it. Top Dollar has come out and said he wants to win the Royal Rumble, and then he's going to challenge for the tag titles. What a flipping idiot, right? Why is it when people win the Royal Rumble or Money in the Bank and they've got the opportunity to go for a world title, right? They are now seemingly shunning that opportunity, and instead they're going after secondary titles. Top Dollar has legitimately said in the build to tonight's match that he wants to qualify for the Rumble, he wants to win the Rumble, and then he's going to challenge for the tag titles at WrestleMania, right? Just when I thought Hit Row couldn't annoy me any more than they do, they've shown up, they've turned up, they've found a way of annoying me a little bit more. Because if you've got an opportunity to go after a world title and main event WrestleMania, and you're going to pass that up so you can go after some tag belts, then what are we even doing here? What are we even doing? Granted, I'm fully aware that that's probably not going to happen, right? I'm fully aware that Top Dollar might not even qualify for the Royal Rumble. But it was just a comment that really annoyed me. It really annoyed me. It's like when Theory cashed in his Money in the Bank for the United States Championship. What is this awful trend that's going on at the moment where Austin Theory could have cashed in for a world title, still had plenty of time to do it, right? Still got months. Doesn't need to do it until like May, right? So this idea that he's tried and he hasn't been successful, so I'll have to go for the mid-card title instead is rubbish, because he still had months and months and months that he could try to go for that major title, right? So the fact he didn't and he went after a mid-card belt, I will, for the rest of eternity, say that that is the stupidest cash-in that I have ever seen. I have never seen. I've seen cash-ins fail, right? But I think it's better to try for the world title and fail than to try for a mid-card belt, right, and succeed. I would much rather, if I had the opportunity, go for the world title and fail than try and win a mid-card belt that I already had. He already had the United States title. He was the United States champion. It's not like he's never won a belt in WWE and he's just desperate to have a belt. He'd already been the United States champion. So, like, the fact that he lost that belt but gained money in the bank and then used money in the bank to try and get the United States title back is just mental. So, hearing Top Dollar come out and say that he's going to win the Rumble and go after the tag belts, just really, I think what it did was it hit a nerve that hasn't fully recovered from that stupid cash-in, right? So that annoyed me. So it's the elephant in the room, guys. We had to talk about it, and I'm pleased that we have. And I haven't even looked at your comments. I'm fully aware that you're all saying the same thing. Top Dollar is a flipping idiot, right? Are you watching the KSI fight, says Billy. Yep. But it's not on, is it, till, is it 14th, next week? Davis. So we've got Gervonta Davis. I am struggling to find that in the UK at the moment. If I have to, then I'll have to go VPN and then try and find a way of watching it that way. So we are looking to do the boxing tomorrow. And then I think it's a week tomorrow, a week on Saturday. That's when we get the KSI fight. And we will be doing that, yes. So we've actually got big streams coming back on Saturdays now, which is great. Cross said, what if Bray has given us the ending to the story when he came back at Extreme Rules? Almost gave me Arrival vibes. What if Bray has already given us the ending to the story at Extreme Rules? Yeah, I mean, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I think that Bray is Uncle Howdy. I've said that pretty much all throughout. I think the only time I thought it was someone different was when we very first saw Uncle Howdy, and it felt different. Do you remember when we first saw Howdy and it panned down and he went Howdy like that, right? That didn't sound like Bray to me, and from the lighting and the slight angle of the face and all of that, it didn't look like Bray to me. It looked like the facial hair was real. It felt like the mask. It felt actually a lot more like the mask that we saw last week. You know, the kind of mask where it was like cut, and I think the bottom part of the face was actually revealed. It felt a bit more like that. So it's so difficult to know what's going on with the story at the moment, because clearly there is someone else involved in this story, because there was someone else that was in the ring with Bray last week. That person, you could see them a lot more, and that didn't feel like a stand-in. The person we got in the ring, you might remember, is it 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, when Bray was in the ring and Uncle Howdy came out, and he was doing some really bad over-the-top laughing, like, like this, right? You know, kind of like a mole Santa would when he's meeting kids. Right? It was really like OTT. That felt like it was probably a stand-in to me. That felt like they'd just got an extra. And that's why I was still kind of banging the drum of, this could be like someone that Bray's got to throw you off the scent. Like, because this doesn't feel like it is a real person that's going to be around permanently. It's got a bit of an actor vibe to it. It's got a bit of a stand-in vibe to it. You can't really make out any facial expressions. They've just come out and they've just done this like laughing thing, and that's it. I was still kind of like, he could easily have just got someone to dress up as Uncle Howdy just to throw all the fans and LA Knight off the scent, right? So I was pretty much like Bray all throughout. Last week was different, right? Last week was definitely different because last week we got to see a lot more of the face of the person, and they came into the ring and they also actually got physical and they attacked Bray. What we saw last week was completely different to what we saw a few weeks back with the laughing person, right? The only thing I would say though is that the mask was different. It was different again. So the whole thing is very confusing because was that Uncle Howdy or was that Uncle Harper? I did a video on that saying these masks are so different. We're not seeing the same person, and if they're going to try and tell us that this has been the same person all throughout, then that's going to strike me as quite a weak story because these masks have not been the same. And the details are obviously very, very important because when it comes to Bray, everyone is overanalyzing everything, like every little detail, every word, every look, every light, every mask, every movement, even like if he's wearing a certain earring, how he's holding his hand, what the gloves look like, everything is being super, 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 super analyzed. So something as big as the masks being so drastically different and clearly being different, it's not even close. Like the one that the person wore in the ring where that attacked Bray is completely different to the one that we saw from that guy that walked out laughing a few weeks before. Like it's different mask. So like if we're meant to believe that this is the same person all along, like granted it could be the same person wearing different masks, but it's a very messy story at the moment for me. It's not a clean story. I'm hoping that there's going to be something that makes you go right. Okay, I get it now. I see what's happening because right now it's hard to know who's Howdy, who's not Howdy. Is Bray being Howdy? Is it Bo? Has it been Bo all along? Is it Vincent? Is it Dutch? Like, I get people sending me things telling me that Uncle Howdy is Dutch. I get people telling me it's Vincent. I get people telling me it's Bo. I get people telling me it's Bray. They've done a great job of muddying the waters. But the problem is that they've muddied the waters to the point where I think people don't really have much to hang the hat on. There's not loads of stuff that you can like look at and say, yeah, that's where this story is going, or I think this because of this. It's a lot of speculation at the moment because they've muddied the waters so much and there's so many different moving parts. It's really difficult to know exactly what's happening. So it's right that we're talking about this because we will get an Uncle Howdy segment tonight. They kind of tease that in the official preview. And I think that we could really do with some clarity. I'd really like some clarity. I'd like something that just gives us something to hang our hat on, to be honest. Something that we can go, right, okay, so there are, even if it was revealed that there is more than one Uncle Howdy, or that there's been more than one person, or if Bray just hints, I don't think we're seeing the same person each week, or I think there's more than one person that's terrorizing me. If he says something along those lines, boom, this thing gets really interesting immediately. But at the moment, it's just a lot of like no answers really. So it's a little bit. I'm still on board with the story. It's just I am very much at the point now where I don't know. I feel like you could do loads of like theory videos, but you'd just be running around in circles. There's not really much to hang your hat on. There's really not much to hang your hat on. And honestly, even if Bray, even the comment that started this conversation, even if what happened at Extreme Rules turns out to be the ending of the story and Bray is revealed to be Uncle Howdy, still doesn't explain who that was last week that attacked him. So like, it's going to be a wait and see situation, isn't it? And hopefully we're not going to have to wait too long because this story has been playing out for weeks and weeks and weeks anyway. There's tons of people that are tired of it, that just want to get to a match. You know, it seems like a lot of WWE fans maybe don't have the I don't know, I don't want to say the patience. Maybe it's desire for such a long story. Perhaps like there's a good chunk of people that just want to get to the match. And that's not what Bray's about. And so like I don't mind it personally, but I am very aware that a lot of comments I read is that when are we going to get to a match? You know, why has he not wrestled yet? There's a lot of people that are seemingly, you know, just bored of the story and want to get to a match. I'm all right with it. I ain't bored of the story. I'm all right with it. But as I said, I definitely would like something. I'd like some sort of answer. It feels like week after week after week after week, they present you with just more and more questions. So it's like, here's another question, here's another question, here's another question. Like, when do the answers come? And you know what, right? If I'm going to be super critical, and this is me being super critical, this would be one of my frustrations from the Funhouse. This would be one of my frustrations from what Bray did last time, which is every week it was more and more questions, and you weren't really getting any answers. I remember for the longest time, one of the questions being, where is the Funhouse? And we never really got an answer to that. Like, well, everyone's got theories on it, but no one knows, like, was it a physical place? Was it a mental place? Like, you know, were the puppets actually alive? Or were they being controlled? If they were being controlled, who was controlling them? Like, we never got answers to these things. We never got answers to these things. We even saw the puppets backstage and out of the Funhouse. So that would lend itself to the idea that the puppets were not just a figment of the imagination. Like they were physical as well because they did exist in the real world. So then that maybe makes you think, okay, so does that mean that the Funhouse is real? But not necessarily, because the Funhouse could have been in his mind, and then the puppets could have been made. I mean, we know that they got made. They got sold on WWE Shop, though. Those ones were slightly different. But, like, he easily could have made some and then, you know, had people controlling those. So it's this was part of my frustration with the first time Bray came back, was that it was week after week after week after week after week of questions and not getting answers. And it does get to a point where you do start getting a bit frustrated with it. And so I would very much like us not to do that with Uncle Howdy and to actually get some answers. I'm sure we will this time, though. I'm sure we will this time, because we can't just keep doing what we're doing. Can't just keep doing this. We've got to get answers at some point. We need to know who this person is that's attacking Bray. Like, we've got to find that out eventually, because got to think that they're either going to be working together eventually, or it's going to lead to a match. Like, you will get Bray versus Uncle Howdy, or whoever it was that was in the ring that attacked him last week. Like, you will get that match, I'm sure. And who knows? Maybe that's WrestleMania. You know, Uncle Howdy, aka Bo. I feel like Bo's probably the front runner. Uncle Howdy versus Bray Wyatt, and then, like, obviously the fallout of that will decide what, you know, where the story goes from there. So yeah, lots to talk about. We could spend half an hour just talking about Uncle Howdy and all of that stuff. Elliot said, I think they have changed their minds and they've decided to have Bray versus Howdy, aka Bo, at WrestleMania. I think Uncle Howdy will turn out to be the Bo playing a nightmare from their childhood, kind of creepy uncle vibes. Yeah, yeah, could be. I mean, I've seen loads of, like, interesting theories. I mean, the theory that Bray started by telling us the ending, I think, is great. I like that idea. As I said, though, it doesn't really give us answers as to who attacked him last week, and it doesn't really give us answers as to how that fits in with, you know, what we are. All that would reveal is that Bray is Uncle Howdy, and has been at least part of Uncle Howdy. But I like it. I like the idea that, you know, by the time we get there, like, we might have just one question left, and that is the answer to that question. So I like that. Bo playing someone from their youth. Like I don't mind that. I think that's pretty fun. I also saw a really great theory that got shared on Twitter. Someone was saying about how this could be mirroring the Exorcist story, and I'd have to do a separate video on it because, to be honest, I would need to read through the theory. But apparently, you can look at the story that's happening now. You can kind of fit in a narrative connected with the Exorcist film, and there are similarities. For example, Captain Howdy in The Exorcist, Uncle Howdy in the Bray story. But like, apparently, one of the priests sacrifices themselves in The Exorcist, and they were saying, what if like Bo has sacrificed himself and he's been consumed by Uncle Howdy, and so this is Bo, but it's a Bo that has sacrificed himself so that Bray can be himself, and something along those lines, which I must admit I was reading and I found it quite interesting. I thought it was an interesting thought, an interesting theory. So there is some interesting theories and thoughts around, but as I said, with the limited information we've got, it does feel like we are just going down potentially a lot of dead ends. So hopefully we get some answers on that soon. Big MGM says the problem with the Bray story is at one point you do need to answer something. It is like the Funhouse. We at least knew where that was going. Bray slowly made it more clear, but here there's no progression. I mean, look, I think everyone's going to have their own opinion on it. My opinion is Bray is very creative. I think this is what he excels at. I think he's always been a better storyteller than he has an in-ring wrestler, right? And I don't mean that as a disrespect thing. I mean it as a respect thing, actually. Like, he is a great storyteller, and storytelling is very, very important in wrestling, and it's something a lot of people struggle to do. He excels at it. So they are playing to his strength, and his strength is creating characters, creating stories, and executing those stories. And he's been given a lot of freedom here to do that, and to make sure that the story is told in the way I think he wants it to be told. So that's great. But, not everything is going to be absolutely 100% perfect in life, is it? And even if this is going the way he wants at the moment, for me, there is just a slight concern that, we're starting to see a little bit like we saw with the Funhouse, which, as I said, I felt frustrated with. I loved it. It was super entertaining, and every episode you would look forward to it. But I do remember, I know we could go back and watch the watch-alongs, and one of my criticisms at the time was, when are we going to get some answers here? Like, when are we going to find out about where this Funhouse actually is? Because you've got to remember, that played out over 7 weeks, and it was one of the biggest things that was happening. I mean, the shows were not great. Quite a few weeks, those were the best parts of the shows. It was very much like White Rabbit. There seemed to be only one conversation around that time. We are going back now to 2019. But I remember that we would talk about Firefly Funhouse all week. And then we would look forward to the next episode. And we would get that. And then the next week, we would just talk about that. It could actually be partly our fault for overanalyzing and talking about it so much. It might be that these segments, back in the day, you would have spoke about them with your mates once or twice, or whatever, whenever you saw your friends, and maybe not focused on them as much as we do now. And so maybe part of it is our fault. Maybe these segments are meant to get you thinking, but not to the point where you're having conversations about them every single day, analyzing every single aspect. And so, maybe partly it's my fault for over analyzing and not just watching and just seeing where it all goes and whatever. But I do remember that, week after week, just waiting to get some concrete answers. That's why when we got the Fiend reveal, it is such a big moment, because that really felt like the story was moving forwards. And it really felt like, oh my God, look at this character. Who saw this coming? And It was fantastic. So the Fiend reveal was absolutely incredible. Um, I don't know that we've necessarily. I mean, like, I don't think the Howdy reveal was quite the same level as the Fiend reveal. But let's see. Let's see what we get tonight. Let's see what we get tonight. But I am definitely at the point where I would love to get some answers rather than just more questions. Ryan Gambler said, "Hello, how are you? What is on tap for SmackDown tonight? Do you think Royal Rumble poster is a tease for The Rock?" I do think the Royal Rumble is poster is a tease for The Rock. I never read into the posters though. I mean, I would never ever ever say that the poster is like spoiling The Rock's return or anything along those lines, because I just think that the people that work in the marketing department, they have no idea. Zero idea. I can pretty much promise you, right? They have no idea what is going to actually happen at the Royal Rumble. Exactly the same with the Money in the Bank poster. I don't know if you've seen the Money in the Bank poster, but the Money in the Bank posters come out because obviously that's going to be in London. Amazing. And it's got like a weird figure on the top deck. If you actually look at the thumbnail on the Wrestling Days channel and look specifically on the top deck of the bus at the front, near the front, you'll see a weird like person sat on the top deck. And you can see like two eyes and a smile, and it looks weird, right? Now, I've already had people saying, is this teasing something to do with Lily and all this kind of stuff? No, definitely no, right? Because the people that work in the marketing department, they don't get that kind of information. Because if you're trying to have a secret, if you're trying to have The Rock come back, the last thing you want is loads of people knowing about it. Because if loads of people know about it, it's going to leak, it's going to get out, and you're going to ruin a big surprise. Now, you might want that news to come out, but you're going to want to be in control of that news coming out. If you're WWE, you might want people to find out that The Rock is going to be at the Rumble, because, of course, then people are going to tune in and they're going to want to see that moment. Look at what happened with Sasha at Wrestle Kingdom. Everyone knew she was there, and as a result, I tuned in. I'm sure loads of you tuned in just to see the Sasha moment, right? And so you might want the same with The Rock, but you're also going to want to be in control of that. You're not going to want to have marketing kind of like be told about it and then it leak that way. So they won't know what's going to happen at the Rumble. The only thing that I would say is that they might have been told, like, okay, this is the kind of thing we want. We want you to have it as lightning. Because what would the poster, if you've not seen, it's got a lot of lightning on it, right? Electrifying is maybe the word that you would use. There is every chance they've been given that as a direction, right? So there is every chance they've been told, right, we want the background to be lightning with all the superstars looking a bit, I don't know, Avengers-esque, kind of like, coming in from the side. They might have been given that as a direction, but the marketing department won't know that The Rock is coming in. So I think that, could it be a tease for The Rock? Sure. But it could be a tease in the sense of the marketing department know what everyone is talking about. They know where the conversation is. And so, like every good marketing department, they're using that to fuel the speculation. It could be that the marketing department have sat down and gone, right, what shall we do for the Rumble? Well, everyone thinks The Rock's coming in, so how about we go with an electrifying poster? How about we go with something that teases The Rock? And they're doing it as a bit of a troll job, right? Because they know that everybody is, like, already aware as to what the plans have been. I mean, it wasn't that long ago it was reported The Rock was, potentially being looked at as the winner of the Royal Rumble. So I do think that it's done for that reason, right? I can't prove that, but I think there's a good chance it is. But I have no idea that it's done with any kind of certainty or knowledge. It could be a troll job by the marketing department. It could always be just a coincidence as well, or they could have just been told use some lightning. Use some lightning. Make it look electrifying because we've got plans or something like that, and they don't actually know the reason why. They've just been given that as a direction. So yeah, but I would never ever look at a poster and use that as a okay, this is definitely happening because the marketing department will never be given that information. There's it's such a big company. There's so many moving parts. Marketing department is just one department. That if you look back at the history of like posters and all that kind of stuff, like very rarely do you have anything that's connected to like any spoilers or anything like that. The only time that I think we saw something that might have actually played out would be Extreme Rules with Bray coming back. And again, it could be that they were just given that direction. Do you know what? That'd be a really interesting interview, actually. I'd love an interview with someone from the marketing department, see exactly what direction they're given. Because we did get like some fireflies in the background of a lantern and some fireflies in the background of like Extreme Rules posters. And that definitely got people talking. And again, I don't think they were told Bray was definitely coming back at that point. But it's a little different because, of course, the company was already engaging in the White Rabbit campaign. So the company absolutely knew that Bray was signed and he was making his way back. And so the Extreme Rules posters could have been part of that process. So that was a bit of an exception, to be honest, because the White Rabbit campaign was so big and all-encompassing. I don't know that The Rock's return is the same level as that, to be honest. But they could have been given that as a direction. I want to get to Just Shanks Wrestling. I saw Just Shanks very kindly sent through Super Chat, like a few people today, which I really appreciate. Here's Just Shanks. Are you getting a ticket for Money in the Bank? I am. I'm not. No, I'm not. I mean, it's fantastic news. I do watch longs, don't I? So it's not something that we could have WrestleMania and I wouldn't go. I would be here doing the watch along. It doesn't change the fact that it's fantastic for the UK and that it's something that I think the UK deserves. I think that the majority should always be in America. It's an American company. And it's right that the American fans get the lion's share of the shows. But I would think even the American fans would agree that for the UK, such an important market, to only have had one big major show in 1992 is, not great. We've had a couple of like little pay-per-views since, like, there has been a few shows, that have been in the UK. Obviously, we get the odd Raw and, tours and stuff, which is brilliant. But, big juicy shows that have potential title changes and premium live events, things like that. There's so many that happen and have happened. Not even like, Money in the Bank, just talking about, Hell in a Cell or tables, ladders, chairs, just anything. We'd take anything. We weren't getting any at all. So, like, I think people would agree that, like, us getting Clash at the Castle was overdue and was a big success. Granted, the way it ended was a bit strange, and I didn't think it was the strongest show. It was still good, and there were still some good matches on it. But I think, if you would sit down and book your dream UK cards, I don't think it would look like the one we ended up getting. But either way, it was a big success. Crowds, vocal, fantastic. The actual way they came across was brilliant. The merch sales was insane. I don't think the viewing figures were terrible. I mean, obviously, we live in a different world with the WWE Network, a network that's been around since 2014, by the way. A network that's been around for 8 years means that people, you don't have to watch live. But even if you do, I mean, like, I don't think the time difference is that bad. 5 hours on the East Coast, whatever. So, I mean, look, I think they took a lot of confidence from Clash at the Castle, and now the UK has got Money in the Bank. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. I'm just really pleased for UK fans. It's not something that I think we should get all the time. Like one a year would be absolutely fantastic if possible, but if not, UK fans, I think would be all right with that. I mean, we went since '92 until last year's Clash at the Castle, so you know what I mean. Like for us to get Money in the Bank, I think we have to admit is beyond our wildest dreams. I wasn't expecting it, so yeah, it was beyond. I thought there was a chance we would get one, but I thought it'd probably be a Clash at the Castle type thing again. To get Money in the Bank, which is a proper, I mean, a proper like premium live event. I know that Clash was, but we've never had a Clash before. I mean, that was just made up, wasn't it, for the sake of putting on a show? But this is a proper one, a proper. A lot of people have it as like their fourth favorite of the year, like ahead of Survivor Series. If there was a big fight, then I think Money in the Bank would be that other show. So yeah, so exciting, so exciting. But no, I won't be getting a ticket to it. It's one though that I'm really pleased that UK wrestling fans will be able to go and attend. Though it's long overdue. But we don't need to worry for Cody. We have to worry for people like Bray, Cross, Knox, and Emma. Yes, we can talk about Vince. The Vince situation it's a weird one, isn't it? I mean, the Vince situation yesterday, I saw the news. I didn't see it when it first broke, but I did see the news a few hours later. And my first reaction to it was, what does this mean? That was my first reaction to it. What does this mean? Vince is coming back is a very easy video to make, very, not clickbait, but you'll get views off that. Vince is coming back because everyone's first immediate reaction is, oh my God, Triple H is going to be out. What's going to happen to all these superstars? Blah, 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 right? The problem is, though, that WWE is such a big company and there's so many different facets and so many different sides to what, Vince could do. It was never quite clear as to what he was coming back for. Now, he did put out a press statement later yesterday after the news had initially broken. He put out a statement saying that he was looking to work with the current management team. But again, what does that mean, right? What does that mean? And then, of course, like today, we get the meeting that's happened and we get a bit more information as well that's come out. It's only really like today and, more so the latter part of the day that we've got a much better idea as to what's happening now. And like the situation is, I genuinely don't expect him to get involved with creative. I don't think he'll get involved with creative. I don't believe he's Tony Khan, right? I think Tony wants to have a wrestling company because he wants to book a wrestling company. I think he loves watching wrestling and he loves booking, right? Tony will have had figures as a kid. I've got no doubt about that, right? He will have had wrestling figures as a kid. He would have done his own shows. Who knows? He might have even had his own YouTube channel, and he might have, had they have been around, and he might have done his own wrestling shows and everything. Like, that's how Tony comes across to me. He comes across to me as someone that loves wrestling and wants to put on his own wrestling shows, right? Vince has been there, done that. He's been around the block about 100 odd times over, right? The amount of times he's had to go and do cycles, wrestlers coming in, going out, more wrestlers coming in, creating more gimmicks. Like, I feel like if he ever did have that, and I don't know that he ever did, but if he ever did have that, I want to book wrestlers. I want to book a wrestling show, right? If he ever did, I'm pretty sure he got that out of his system a long time ago. I think that it got to the point where he only trusted himself to book Raw and SmackDown. I don't think that when it came to Vince, it was ever about wanting to book a wrestling show. I think it was about control. I think that it was about him only really trusting himself to be able to deliver what he felt needed to be delivered. I don't think he really looked around at anyone else and thought that they knew the right thing to do, right? And I think that for him, it's not so much about I want to book the show, I want to book this person versus this person, I want to do this person versus this person. It's not so much about dream matches for Vince. For Vince, for me, it's always been about control, and it's always been about not trusting other people to necessarily do the right thing. So the reason why I say that is because Triple H has been booking the show, and I think Triple H has been getting some good results. There's been some bad results in there. We've been getting some all-time lows as well, right? But in all fairness, that's just where TV ratings are heading. But there's been some good results as well. You can look at like the 2.6 million on SmackDown just the other week, and you can see some of the success from the premium live events that have got some good ratings and good reviews, and the product is solid. I mean, there's no issues with the product. You can look at it and say, oh, I wouldn't do this, I wouldn't do that. But big picture, has everything gone south since Vince walked away? No, it hasn't, right? Things have stayed pretty much as they were. Some areas have looked a little stronger, like the 2.6 million viewers for last week's SmackDown. Some areas, a little bit of a wobble here and there where we've had all-time low segments where they've gone up against football, right? And things like that. But I think that Vince can look at this and he can see that, okay, Triple H has got that, right? I don't need to worry about that. Triple H has got that. I'm sure there's things happening that Vince wouldn't do and wouldn't book. I'm sure there's people that have been brought back that Vince wouldn't bring back. But I really don't think, and at no point have I thought since the news broke of Vince coming back that people were going to be losing their jobs because Vince didn't want them around and stuff like this. I really think Vince is more focused on big picture. I really think Vince is more focused on looking at the TV sale that's coming up, potentially selling the company. All the kind of licensing agreements. There's a whole business side to WWE that obviously massively impacts the share price. For example, if now would be the time to sell, of course, because if someone buys WWE, they're not going to want to be locked into a long-term TV deal, right? If you've just signed a new TV deal with Fox, and then Disney buy it, Disney are going to want to put it on, I don't know, Disney Plus or do whatever. They don't want to buy a company that's signed to a 5-year Fox deal. So the time to sell would be now, and would be as we're getting, because this is going to be a process. If you're selling WWE, you ain't doing it this week, right? You're going to need to see what offers come in, then explore those offers. Then you've got the legality of it all. So you're going to need this year in order to do that. And so Vince coming back so that he can look at the TV rights situation. He can look and see what offers are on the table for WWE to potentially sell it. That's why Vince has come back. And we've got a lot more clarity on that now as to that's the case. I don't think he's interested in... He ain't coming back because he's upset that Bray Wyatt's returned. That is so minuscule, right? No offense to Bray. I'll say the same for Karrion Kross. I'll say the same for Emma. I'll say the same for Hit Row. I'll say the same for Dexter Lumis. I'll say the same for Sarah Logan or, whoever. That is so tiny, minuscule compared to what Vince is looking at and what his focus is. His focus is potentially selling the company, would be a multi-billion dollar deal. If they sell WWE, I don't know what. I know that UFC went for, I think it was 4 or 5 billion. And I know that Vince would absolutely at least want that. Now, that was quite a long time ago now. And I remember when UFC sold, the conversation at the time in wrestling was, well, Vince would want the exact same, if not more. but there was a doubt as to whether he would get that or not. Obviously, there's been a lot of time since, so money now isn't the same as it was back then. So they would get that and more now. But yeah, this is what he's focused on. This is what Vince has come back to look at. He's come back, as I said, he's not come back because someone else is playing with his toys. He's come back because of a potential sale, and he's come back because of the TV rights and all of that kind of stuff. So I think, look, I think that both Steph and Triple H will have been talking to Vince anyway. And I think they'd have been asking advice anyway. I mean, if you think Vince has just been gone and completely out of this, like, I think, like, you'd be wrong, right? If of course, Steph is completely out of her depth, right? I mean, like, Steph being the co-CEO, co-chairwoman, there's going to be countless things that she encounters in that job where she is going to need advice and she is going to need help. And she's going to pick up the phone to her dad, isn't she? Of course she is. So he is going to have been giving advice to Steph. I would not be surprised if he'd been giving advice to Triple H, even if Triple H hasn't been calling him for it. Triple H is still going to be seeing Vince. It's his father-in-law. So they're still going to, see them. Vince is still going to see the grandkids and things along those lines. There's going to be interactions, even if Triple H isn't calling and asking for those interactions. So I think that, Triple H will have been getting some info, will have been getting some advice. I think, Vince said very clearly he'd be watching every week. He said that, in his letter that went out to all the superstars, I will be watching. So we know that, and I don't doubt for a second he's not been watching. And I think he will have been giving back feedback. I think that Steph will have been getting feedback. I think I don't think that Triple H would have gone too far away from Vince's vision. And actually, if you look at Raw, it ain't that different. It really ain't that different. You get asked all the time, like, what show was better? Was it when it was Vince booking or when it was Triple H booking? And the honest answer is, there ain't the biggest of differences. It's just maybe some of the silliness has gone. Some of the silliness, some of those kind of like Miz TV segments and things along those lines. But I've still had to watch Riddle and his bong go, talking about hitting the bong and all this kind of stuff. There's still been silliness. We still have Alpha Academy. Oh, thank you. Shushing people and things along those lines. And I know that you can't just come in and, change everything. It would be too much disruption, but there's been plenty of stuff that we've looked at and gone, is Vince booking this? Has Vince booked this segment? So, Triple H is keeping things fairly as was, but there are, little tweaks, little changes. It's a lot more palatable. There's definitely been some improvements. You wouldn't say there hasn't, but Vince ain't coming back to do creative, right? I really don't believe that. And I'm not worried for Bray. I'm not worried for Emma. I'm not worried for any of these guys. The only reason that I would be worried would be if WWE is sold and then a whole new management team comes in. I mean, who knows? Steph might get a lovely big check and think to herself, do you know what? I'm done. I'm done. Here's my share of the sale. I don't need to be a part of this. I don't need to work for someone else and have them kind of dictate to me as to what they want me to do. Like, I've had my time. I've had my fun. I'm out. And if the McMahons are out, who knows what, I think Triple H does have that. I want to book my dream matches. I think he's very like Tony in that sense. He's not got it out of his system. NXT didn't get it out of his system. He has now just got the keys to the big shows. So I think at the moment, there's a chance he would still stay, even if it got sold. I think that they would be wise to keep Triple H around. If it's sold, say Disney buy it. Disney, I think, would look at it and think to themselves, we need someone that knows what the fans want. Who's better than Triple H? Who's better than Triple H? I mean, no one's got massive issues with the product at the moment. We would all make changes. we would all make changes. But it's not like you see people online moaning week after week about how this is rubbish and how it's lost its direction since Vince has gone. If anything, it's all praise, isn't it? That it's better than how Vince was doing it. So if Disney buy it, I think Triple H would stay in his job, and I think he would want to stay in his job. I mean, look, this is all speculation and just thoughts on it, but I think that he's got that same thing that Tony's got, which is I want to book this show. I want to do this person versus this person. What if we try this? What if we try that? It's in the blood. Vince has been round the houses so many times. I don't think it was about dream matches for him. I think it was about keeping things going and really just trusting himself. He'd been there. He'd done it. He knew that he was right, and he was proven right again and again and again. And he got loads wrong, but he got a lot of big stuff right. He was right on WrestleMania. He was right on Hulkamania. He was right on Brett and Shawn and moving away from the steroid stuff, which he was forced to move away from. But, Brett and Shawn stepped up for him. He was right then with the Attitude Era and to lean more into that rather than just stay with New Generation. He was right with John Cena. He was right with Roman Reigns. He was right with like ruthless aggression and kind of going in that direction. Like a lot of big things that Vince did. And it's hard to reinvent yourself, but to get so much right in the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, he did a great job. He did a lot that was rubbish and wrong, but I'm pretty sure you could put anyone in that position, anyone, and they would get a lot right. Look at Triple H. Triple H has only been in the job since just before SummerSlam, and look at the things that he's got wrong. He is responsible for Austin Theory cashing in on the United States Championship, which is one of the stupidest things I've ever seen. He's responsible for Liv Morgan tapping out at SummerSlam, but still being given the win, right? Which resulted in Liv actually being booed and chance of you tapped out on the following SmackDown. So already within the space of 6 months, 7 months, something along those lines, we've seen some very strange booking decisions coming out of Triple H. You're not going to get everything right. You're going to swing and miss sometimes. And Vince did a lot of that. But Triple H is showing as well that, he's human as well. And mistakes will be made. So I don't think Vince is going to come back and go for creative. I think that I think he's back for the sale. I think he's back for the TV rights. A sale might not even happen. It could be that they just negotiate a monstrous TV deal and that is better than any options on the table. And that's it. Things just carry on as they are. It would be interesting. I don't think Vince can ever truly walk away. I actually think Vince is a workaholic. We all know that. And I think that he needs something. And I think he needs to get involved in a sale or a TV thing because he needs to be involved. The problem is going to be once that's done, if it's not sold and it stays because they've had a monster new TV deal, what does Vince do then? That's an interesting question because he's a workaholic. And if you've got a new TV deal, that means that you're locked into something for, 4 years, 5 years, something along those lines. Well, what does he do then? Right? Because he's still going to want to, the devil makes work for idle hands. And so I don't know at that point what he does. At that point, he might start getting a bit more involved in creative because he's got nothing else to do. There's always licensing agreements and, contracts and, all that kind of side of things. Whether they could just keep him busy with that stuff, I don't know. But, that will be interesting. If they negotiate a new deal, they don't sell the company. Vince is just, kicking around Titan Towers. They're going to need to find something for him. Otherwise, he might at that point start heading towards creative. Just because, he's a workaholic. The guy just doesn't ever turn off, does he? And I don't think he ever will. I really don't think he ever will. Unless, his health declines or whatever. And hopefully it doesn't. I think, personally, this is a weird thing that people might not expect. I actually think it's really good that Vince has come back because I think if you look at his track records and what he was able to achieve with getting WrestleMania and starting the network, a lot of that, take creative out of it, right? And even creative, he did a lot of good stuff. But take creative out of it and just look at the business side. Look at what he bought from his dad in the early 80s to the global conglomerate that, this monstrous worldwide global brand that he managed to create. I mean, what WWE is now is not what it was in the early 80s. Like, it needed Hulkamania, it needed WrestleMania, it needed lots of things that Vince had to get right, that he did get right. The business side, Vince as a businessman, he's always been brilliant. He's always excelled. So Vince coming back to look at, helping secure the TV rights, maybe a sale, like, he is a good person actually to come back. He is a good person to have in your boardroom for any of these future decisions. And, we've seen the share price go up as a result. The share price actually responded quite positively to Vince coming back. As long as he stays away from the creative side, that seems to be what the fans are more worried about. The fans are more worried about, is he going to fire Bray? And, is he going to replace Triple H? I don't think we need to worry about that. I could be proven wrong, but I don't think we need to worry about that. Portington, shout out to you. Portington said, days are you, Uncle Howdy. I figured it out. Sadly not. I ain't got time. I can't be doing these watch-alongs and be Uncle Howdy as well. It's just not enough time. Eric, shout out to you. Said, this just in, Vince is going to hire Jack Tunney as GM. Might have a problem. I can see one major problem with that idea. Big MGM said reports are that Regal is at this SmackDown. Big MGM, shout out to you. And there's another one from Eric. Eric said, I think he was on the money with some of the releases in the last few years. Look at every WWE failure in AEW. Objectively, Vince was right. I think that people don't give WWE credit for the power that they have to get people over. They're very good. They've got a very good machine. They can take someone with limited skill, and they can look at the Warrior, for example. Yeah, the Ultimate Warrior. So Ultimate Warrior is someone that couldn't wrestle. Like, didn't really have much wrestling ability. His matches were very short. He was basically a bodybuilder. He was a bodybuilder that decided to give wrestling a go. Vince was always about looks. He was always about, like, how people look. And, they found a gimmick that had the Warrior running down, full energy. The music worked with it as well. And, they found a way of presenting this person he was basically just a bodybuilder, right? He did have, obviously, some wrestling experience before he came to WWE, but by and large, he was a bodybuilder. And so they found a way of creating one of the biggest names in the history of wrestling. I mean, Ultimate Warrior is just one of those names that resonates with, I would say, near enough every wrestling fan. Who doesn't know who the Ultimate Warrior is? But very limited in his skill set. And, you can repeatedly go down a list. So, if Vince looks at someone and just thinks, I just can't do anything with these people, then, yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe he is, maybe he did make some good decisions. I think he definitely got some wrong as well, though. I mean, the Bray one, I don't think was ever because Bray wasn't good enough. Oh, hello. We've got Bloodline attacking already. So yeah, the Bray one wasn't because Bray wasn't good enough. I think that was more to do with the fact that they just didn't work well together. I think it was as simple as that. But anyway, that's that. And this is this. We've actually got Sammy, and the Bloodline. They are attacking. So we've got chairs being thrown around. Now here comes the Tribal Chief. Roman Reigns is making his way down. It's going to take about half an hour. Going to take about half an hour for the big dog to make his way down. Dun, dun, dun. Here's Roman and Paul Heyman. This is going to be a big segment. Obviously, lost last week. Give me one sec. I didn't have any sound. Okay, so Roman making his way down to the ring. Dun, 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 dun. I just had to reset my cable box. Reigns, what's the big dog? The Tribal Chief. What's he got to say? We up to date with that, yes. Sales take time. As we are seeing with Man United's sale, takes time. It's $1 billion company. What I'm interested in is if the company gets sold, would the new owners want Triple H around? I think they would. I really think they would. I mean, like, if you're Disney, you're going to want people in positions of power that know what they're doing. You're not going to want to just bring in a load of businessmen or people that fancy giving it a go. You want there to be like a seamless transition. You know, long term, you might look at the results and say they're not strong enough. We can do better. So, you know, Triple H would be under a bit of pressure. But he's under pressure anyway to deliver ratings. It'd be no different pressure than he's already under. But yeah, I believe they would keep him around. He would be the front runner. I don't think there'd be any doubt about that. I don't think there'd be any doubt. You know, you've got a product here that's generating good weekly views. It's got a very passionate fan base, and you know, it'd be a real gamble to remove Triple H, just as it was a real gamble to remove Vince. Hence why there was so much intrigue when that change took place, you know? People wanted to know, what does this mean for the show? If you are just joining us, still waiting for Roman here. Just seeing a replay of last week. Obviously, it was a big, big segment last week. Roman in the ring, holding up the 2 titles. So they're showing us what happened last week. We know that Sammy cost the Bloodline, and they got an all right result on Monday, though, in all fairness. But what is Roman about to say? What is Roman about to say? I think Scripps should tag team or join Bray and Uncle Howdy and make a hybrid Wyatt family. Look it. Usi chance. This could be a problem if there's going to be Sammy chance. They have already started teasing that might have been an issue. So we start with the Bloodline. We start with Roman. Memphis, Tennessee. Acknowledge me. Thoughts on a Great Khali return? Haven't heard any rumors of one. He can't walk, can he? He might be in the Rumble. I could see the Great Khali being doing a one-off thing in the Rumble. It's huge in India, you know. Great Khali, so popular in India. Wouldn't be the worst idea to chuck him in the Rumble, but it'd be one of those where he'd walk in, they'd all gang on him, and he'd go over the top and be done very quickly, I think. Okay, we're starting things off a little differently tonight. Here we go. I'm going to give you what you want. Ooh. He called him Sami Zayn. The honorary Uce, Sami Zayn. Honorary Uce, Sami Zayn. It's been a while since I've heard of that. Zayn's reigns. This year belongs to the Bloodline, said Sami. Roman nods. We showed up to send a message on Raw. We are sending a message this year. Solo won his match. Usos and Sami won their match. Yeah. What happens if Sami wins the Rumble? Depends, doesn't it? It depends. It depends as to if he's in the Bloodline or not. Don't care about this year, says Roman. I want to talk about what happened last year. We had the biggest SmackDown match of the year. And what do you think happened? What do you think happened? Hey, kids. For the turn, said Scully dude. Roman's laughing away. Sami's looking nervous. Segments are so good. You had to chew on it. I didn't lose. He lost. He points at Sami. I didn't lose. We're moving forward. Well, this is confusing to me. He wants to move forward. Oh, Sami's looking awkward here. Why did you call your shot? Why did you say that we would win and we didn't win? Do you want to be the tribal chief? Sami's like, no, no. Oh, it's good, isn't it? It's good. Do you think you can do things better than me? You have to always keep eyes in your back of your head, said Roman. Oh, it's really good, said David. No, not this way. Not now, said Dominic. You want to be the tribal chief? Do you think you're me? He's screaming at him. Kevin Owens is coming out. Do you want to be the tribal chief? Do you want to run the Bloodline? He was screaming at him, but Kevin Owens has made the save. Don't know where this was going. It's all very uncomfortable. It's all very uncomfortable. I don't know if that was going to lead to an attack, but Kevin Owens has sort of made a save of sorts. A distraction, if you will. Before things go too far. I think you need to calm down. You've got some misdirected anger, said Kevin Owens. Not Sammy's not the problem. Your problem's not with Sammy. Your problem is with me, says Kevin. You need to take care of your KO problem. So Kevin Owens said, if you want to deal with your problem, how about we have a match at the Royal Rumble for the undisputed Universal Championship. Let's go in. Title versus career. Kevin Owens said, I'll see you at the Rumble. And he said to Sammy, I'll see you whenever you get your balls out of Roman's pocket. Roman calling the wise man over. So Kevin Owens versus Roman. Who knows where we would have gone and what would have happened had Kevin Owens have not come out. So we've gone to commercial break. So Rumble, challenge, made and accepted. Darcy said, Roman being irrational is awesome storytelling. The cracks are visible. Whisperant said that was so great. He doesn't need to win the Rumble. He doesn't need to win the Rumble first, said Dizzle Dog. To be honest, this is, I mean, it depends how you feel about it. I think there's been enough between them whereby him challenging Roman and Roman accepting because he knows he's got a Kevin Owens problem that needs to be dealt with. I'm all right with that. There's been enough like groundwork laid. Roman could turn around and say, no, you need to be the number one contender type situation. But I think this is one that I think Roman probably wants to deal with himself. He wants to, put Kevin Owens away for good. So I don't have an issue with it. But I can understand why people would be like, what, he just gets a match? But we've seen this happen again and again and again. Look at Logan Paul. Look at Logan Paul. Logan Paul, who had one singles match to his name against The Miz at SummerSlam. The other one was at WrestleMania. That was a tag match. And he just gets to have a title shot main event just because of, like, there was no feud background. There was no feud. It was just Roman had been on his podcast. He said that he could beat him. That upset Roman, and that was it. So there's been way more here between Kevin and Roman than there was for that. So I don't think that's a problem too much. But I could understand. I could understand people having a little grumble, maybe. Now that Vince is back, Sammy has got zero chance of winning the Rumble. I don't think Vince is going to be involved in creative. How many times did Goldberg come back and just get a title match? That's true. I mean, that really hurt though, Goldberg. I mean, I feel like the crowd was quite into Goldberg when he first came back. If you remember him and Brock at like, was it the 2016 Survivor Series? It might have been, something along those lines. And it was him against Brock, and Goldberg wins in a shock squash match. There's kind of a lot of goodwill towards Goldberg around that time, but just, when he comes back and just, you're next, and does that all the time, like that goodwill very quickly started to disappear. So it is something that does irritate wrestling fans. I do understand it. It irritates me, to be honest. But this one, I think there's enough here. I think they've been in a feud for long enough, and I think Roman genuinely does have a Kevin Owens problem that he will understandably want to deal with. But imagine Sammy cuts the Usos and the tag titles. Imagine Sammy costs the Usos and the tag title. Dylan said, "Did you see the news that Bo Dallas was backstage at a recent SmackDown?" Yeah, I mean, I think there's a really good chance he was that person last week. Now that we've had time to look at it, my first reaction was Vincent, but now that we've had time to like look at it, I think Bo. I saw a great TikTok that I got sent where someone actually superimposed Bo's face over the one that was in the ring, and I don't know if that had been distorted in any way, but it seemed to work very well. Seemed to match very well. Here's Charlotte. Charlotte arriving. So we're back from our commercial break. Apparently, Ric Flair was around last week at the show. He was just seeing like Cena and Roman, and he was just backstage. And he ended up going like before the show started. He didn't stick around for it. And he got a text from Charlotte saying, "Where are you? I'm on this show." And he didn't even know. He said she told him that he's got a big mouth. So she couldn't afford to let him know, basically, that she was around because he would have ruined it. But yeah, apparently Ric Flair was backstage last week. Right here is the New Day. So Charlotte arriving in a lovely white... Is that like a Porsche, was it? Here's the New Day. NXT Tag Team Champs, of course. They got those NXT tag titles around their waist. Random question. If we ever got Sting versus Taker, who would you have wanted to have gone over? Depends when it was. If it was before the streak, then Taker. If it was after the streak, then Sting. Okay. Oh, qualifying. Is this a qualifying match? The sun has set on the New Day. Okay, we've got Legado del Fantasma confronting New Day. So, are we just seeing a compilation of Kofi's, like, iconic Rumble moments? Winner earns main event championship match at WrestleMania. It's 30, man. There had been rumors of it being more, actually. But it is a 30-man Royal Rumble. Right, here's Legado del Fantasma then. So, don't know quite what this match is. Is it Kofi against Santos? So it is confirmed that it's going to be a 30-man Rumble, which it always is, apart from that one year when it was 40, but and the Greatest Royal Rumble when it was 50, but we had heard rumors that it could be more this year. So 30-man Rumble confirmed. Now I think we're getting Kofi against Santos, I think. So I've got a million times still to do. Days, I know it probably won't happen, but do you think Roman versus CM Punk one day? I don't, to be honest. Um, who would you have winning if it did? Um, I don't know. It really depends, doesn't it? I mean, it would depend how long the contract was. If the contract was long term, was there a title on the line? How long was the title reign for? Is it a one-off appearance like we think The Rock could be? If it's a one-off appearance, then he would lose. If it's a long-term one, then he would win. There's too many factors to it. It's not as easy as saying if this person faces this person who wins. It would really depend on the stories that were happening at the time, how long the contract was for, all that kind of stuff. But I just don't see CM Punk coming in. It is Santos Escobar then against Kofi Kingston. So we are underway. Legato. Santos versus Kofi. If you are just joining us, really interesting first segment to open the show. Really interesting first segment where we had Roman going at Sammy. And really did look like he was going to start attacking him. Screaming at him, do you want to be the tribal chief? Do you want to run the bloodline? And it was a save by Kevin Owens. Kofi just doing a bit of a spot there where he avoided being eliminated, even though this isn't that kind of a match. Kofi going up top. Crossbody on Santos. Goes Santos over the top to the outsides. And Kofi acting that he would have just won the Rumble there. Good evening. I think SmackDown next week in Detroit. I will go with the Wrestling Days sign. BBB Yipsy, shout out to you. If you do go, have a great time, but... Niall said Top Dollar should win the Royal Rumble. When he gets the ring, it'll be impossible for him to go over the top rope. Well, if he does, he's cashing in apparently for the tag belts. Days, are you doing Rampage and Battle of the Belts? Well, definitely not Rampage. And when is Battle of the Belts? I mean, probably not would be my answer, because we normally have other things. So, for example, tomorrow we've got Javonta Davis, Tank Davis, one of the biggest stars in boxing. He is going to be in action. We did his last fight. So popular. People love that guy. Don't know if they love him so much now. But, yeah, he is definitely someone who I always like to keep an eye on. So he's in action tomorrow. And then week after, we got KSI. So Saturdays are just super, super big for us. We've had a couple of weeks where we haven't had anything over Christmas and New Year's, but that all ends tomorrow. So, yeah, big stream. Which, to be honest, I really don't know what I really don't know what I've got lined up tomorrow about watching it. I need to try and find how to watch it. I'm thinking Umaga might make it this year. Probably not. Days, Liv Morgan hasn't been used since her title run. Do you think she would be involved with Bray if Bo turns out to be Uncle Howdy? I would love to see her in a dominant role. I mean, I don't think so, just because Alexa seems to be involved. I don't know that they would have two women. I think they'd go, I mean, clearly Alexa's, involved. So, yeah, I would lean towards no. I mean, it's not impossible. You could have two women in the Jericho Appreciation Society, for example. But I would think it unlikely. Impact, what was that about Impact? Is interested in signing Mandy Rose. Would she go? I mean, she might go. She's made $1 million, apparently. I mean, I don't know that they're going to be able to give her that sort of money. But the problem that she's got is the longer she's off TV, the more her OnlyFans or whatever it's called is probably going to decline. I mean, your 15 minutes of fame will very quickly run out as other women come along and grab people's attention. So it might be something that, even though it's not paying as well, might just ensure that she, stays in the public eye. And certainly if they're going to allow her to still do her OnlyFans, whatever it's called, she then might be interested in that. That might be something that could come off for her. And, it might be a good pickup for Impact. The only thing is, I think Impact tried to pride themselves on good in-ring wrestling. I'm always getting told about how good the Impact product is these days. Don't know that Mandy Rose is ever really that great in-ring. I would really struggle to tell you of a list of great Mandy Rose matches to check out. So, but she's definitely popular, and definitely she's got a fan base. And who knows, as the pretty girl type character, she could kill it in Impact. In all fairness, so. Days, do you think Fox and WWE partnership ends after this TV deal ends in 2024? Is NBC going to add SmackDown to their... Well, no one knows, but do they? No one knows. This is what Vince has come back to look at. Vince has come back to see what the options are. I mean, he's going to want to see what a sale looks like. He's going to want to see what a new TV deals look like, and he's going to weigh it all up, so... There is no way of knowing. There's no way of knowing as to what offers are on the table right now. Right, Escobar in the ring then with Kofi. Big kick there as Kofi goes down. Almost half an hour into this show. Escobar has got Kofi by his hair. Xavier on the outside. Escobar taking quite a while here. Kofi going against the ropes. Kofi rolling through, pinning, 2. Kick out by Escobar. Escobar looking a little bit slow at the moment. Charging over. Kofi moves out the way. Escobar coming over, looking for a strike against the ropes. Down goes Escobar. Kofi with a strike. Escobar going down again. Nice single leg drop kick there by Kofi. Escobar goes down. Escobar with a shot to the midsection as Kofi goes down. Grabbing the hair. Picking him up. Got him on his shoulders. Kofi on his feet. Escobar against the ropes. SOS. Gets it. It's a little messy. It's a little bit messy. Xavier on the outside. I hear him shouting. SOS. I hear him shout. You should have started doing that, Xavier. I hear them shouting. Kofi climbing up. Days, the boxing is on Fight TV. Is it? That's good. Was that announced today? Because that wasn't there. There was no UK coverage of it. In fact, let me just have a quick look at that. That's great news. Is that in the UK though? Ah, yeah. Yes. Appreciate that. How much is it? $9.99. Bargain. $9.99. I'll take 2. When does it start? It starts 2 o'clock in the morning. We'll be starting. We'll probably start about half an hour before that. Hear them shouting. 4 fights. Good fights on the undercard, actually, but it's all about that main event. Tricky, as both of them are world champions as well. Kofi looking for the pin. Oh, that's great news. I appreciate that. I'm really looking forward to getting my teeth into some boxing again. It's been a hot minute. So, Legend Killer, shout out to you. Kick coming in by Kofi. we've still got to hear from Charlotte. We're going to be seeing Uncle Howdy or something to do with Bray. Boom drop by Kofi. Kofi over in the corner. Trouble in Paradise. New Day rocks. We've got Legado grabbing a hold of Kofi. Oh, kick to the face by Escobar. He's got Kofi on his shoulders. Drives him down. 1, 2, 3. Escobar wins. Escobar wins. So Santos beats Kofi thanks to outside interference. Legado. Outside interference. I don't think this was a Rumble qualifying match. I'm pretty sure Kofi will be in the Rumble. Bang. Not a bad match, said David. Retribution, shout out to you. Hoping we see both Uncle Howdys so we have more questions, says Chris. What's this? Okay, it's a fish. It's a fish, guys. Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens at the Royal Rumble. It's a fish. It's going to happen in 3 weeks. Be there. Sammy backstage, Sammy. Is this going to be a Sammy Paul moment? Got to talk to him. Have to explain, says Sammy. Got to talk to him. Heyman said now is not the time. Jay looks at Sammy. Goes inside. Remember last week? I still love you, said Paul. It is a rough night for Sammy. Sammy is locked out. Heyman said, I still love you. So Sammy tries to speak to Roman. No joy. Will you be watching UFC 283? Yes. So tomorrow we've got Gervonta Davis. The week after we got KSI. The week after we got UFC 283. And then the week after that we got the Royal Rumble. Every Saturday. Killing it. Killing it. I don't know what February looks like at the moment, but there'll be another. I mean, I'm guessing it's Elimination Chamber. I'm guessing it's UFC 284. And there might even be some more boxing in there. I don't know. I really don't know this year what the UFC fight nights are going to look like. I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like there's just big things happening. I mean, certainly for January, there's just big things happening that take priority over UFC fight nights, to be perfectly truthful. UFC fight nights, they're like the normal weekly UFC shows, which I do really enjoy watching, and we do them. But I mean, if you've got like Gervonta Davis, and in all fairness, there is no UFC tomorrow anyway. But the week after that, it's KSI. I mean, the demand for that fight is going to be incredibly high compared to UFC fight night. And then we've got UFC, the proper pay-per-view. And then we've got the Rumble. I mean, I have to do the Rumble over UFC Fight Night. So, yeah, that's how January is looking for Saturdays, and it's big. It's big. Did anyone actually think the match wasn't going to happen after the first segments? Nah. Yeah, Roman even said that he accepted it, didn't he? So, but it's made official. We've got the graphic. It's always nice to see the graphic. Roman is treating Sammy exactly how he did the Usos at the beginning, said let him in. What rumors are there for the 30th anniversary? There are no flipping rumors. I don't know what the hell's going on. I was so interested in potentially even going to that show, you know, because I heard rumors they were going to do it in the Manhattan Center. Well, that can't be true, can it? I mean, it's going to be. Am I right in saying it's the next? I don't know if it's Monday or the week after. But like, have they even announced where that's going to be? That's a great question. That is. Let's have a look. WWE tickets. WWE tickets. I haven't heard any announcements for where the next Raws are going to be. Events in the UK. I don't care about that. Here we go. Raw is in Birmingham, Alabama on January the 9th. And then on January 16th, it's in Cincinnati, Ohio. So there was rumblings and talks of them doing a 30-year special from the Manhattan Center, which is in New York, which is the little room where Raw began in. I would love to go there. That is a little dream of mine, to go to that venue and ideally watch Raw or WWE, even a house show. But to go there would be amazing. Is Liv. But yeah, it doesn't seem like they're doing anything. She's talking about being in the Rumble. If I had it my way. Liv says, watch me. Liv said that if she had it her way, she would pick number 1 and she'd beat everyone that came down. Michael Cole was like, for the record, I'd pick number 30. Liv Morgan, Rumble, promo. Probably going to be seeing quite a few of these. Okay, what's this? So we're talking about LA Knight now. Michael Cole said he's still trying to work out what happened last week. So we're seeing what happened last week with LA Knight in the ring and Bray in the ring. Howdy and Bray stood. They're calling him Howdy. Why can't I don't understand. Why does Michael Cole not believe that Howdy attacked Bray? Howdy's been very anti-Bray. Don't trust him, is a liar, all this kind of stuff. So why is it that surprising? Right, we're backstage with LA Knight. Yeah. How are you feeling about your... Let me talk to you. I feel damn good. Not because I'm in Memphis. No one feels good about that. Bray's plans blew up in his face last week. At the Rumble. And Yeah. Have you noticed there's a new way? This is twice they've done it now, where someone's talking, they haven't finished the promo, and we interrupt them. Have you noticed that? That's twice in this show that someone's been talking and we've interrupted. Like, they haven't walked away. The promo hasn't finished. It happened with Kofi earlier, and now it's happened here with LA Knight. Right, here's Carrion. Carrion making his way out. So I did wonder if we were going to get something a bit more. If it is going to come, it's going to come a little bit later from Bray. Let me talk to you. Yeah. Dana White's new power slap has been cancelled after the slapping video got leaked, according to Meltzer. It was set to debut after Dynamite. It's been canned. I mean, it's hard to feel any sympathy for him in it. I mean, it's not a good look, is it, to be hosting a power slap TV show after you've just had a video come out of you slapping your wife? So, yeah. Right, here's Carrion then. Carrion in the ring. Let me talk to you. Yeah. Who's he facing? Oh. Carrion and Scarlett. Scott. Okay. Oh, this would have been nice to have announced. A mixed tag match. Was this announced anywhere? This wasn't even on the official preview. Even on the preview? The flip. Well, that's quite exciting. I think a lot of people will be excited to see Scarlett in the ring. That is a lame entrance, says Mark. Scarlett's first time wrestling. Mixed tag. It was on run sheets and spoilers. Yeah, but who cares about that? It wasn't announced, was it? That's interesting. I would have thought they would have announced this. You know, Scarlett having a first like match, you'd think is something they would have told people about in advance, unless it came out like an hour before the show or something. But certainly on the official preview, I watched the official preview for SmackDown. No mention of it on there. Good. I'm excited for Scarlett. She's good, said Lady Noir. Is that really the only thing we're getting for Bray tonight, said Canadian Kids? I don't know. I mean, I would imagine we would hear from Bray. I'd imagine at least we would get a promo. So I'm thinking there's a chance we'll get some. But I don't know how big of a something we're going to get tonight. I suppose last week was quite big. So hard to know if it'll be a... We have had weeks where we've not had anything that major. It'll be one of them. Don't know. Did you hear that if The Rock does not agree to WrestleMania, Roman could be stripped of the title because of the actions of the Bloodline on Raw, and so Raw has a world title, says Dominic. I can't believe that they've got here and they still don't know if The Rock's wrestling or not. I find that hard to believe. They must know by now. Why would The Rock not know if he can do this year's WrestleMania? Why would you get to this? Why would you get to January and not know what your main event is? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I believe it, to be honest. They must know. They must have booked The Rock. I don't think that like it's a situation where you don't have The Rock already sorted and in the books. You must, by now, you must know if you've got The Rock or not. You must know. January? It's like, how many weeks until WrestleMania? 10 or something like that? Like, must know. It's too much that you've got to do too many graphics and all this kind of stuff. Like, they must. I'd be stunned. I'd be absolutely stunned if they didn't know. Right. Here we are then, underway with the mixed tag match. When the sun sets, LA Knight arrives, said Knight Rider. Drum him up more hype. Yeah. I thought day one was supposed to be this year. It didn't happen. Did they forget? No. Apparently day one was going to be at the same time as something quite big in America, and they decided it wasn't going to be worth it. First time of seeing Scarlett in the ring, then she gets hurled into the corner by Emma. Now she's getting hurled over the other side as well. So Emma's in there with Scarlett. Clothesline, down goes Scarlett. Emma going back to the corner. Scarlett over the other side. Emma charging over. Forearm strike. Nice roll by Emma. Emma crossbody. Collides into Scarlett. Scarlett down. 2. Kick out by Scarlett. Kick out by Scarlett. Emma grabbing a hold of Scarlett's hair. Then double underhooks. Scarlett fires back. Against the ropes goes Emma. It's quite slow. Oh, lights out? Oh. Oh, was that a slip, was it? That must have been a slip. I think something popped out there because all of a sudden we lost picture. Right. Wardrobe malfunction. Yeah, that must have been a wardrobe malfunction. It was right as we did a, like, suplex. She's bridged over as well, isn't she? Emma slaps Carrion. Mess him up. Make him humble. Make him humble, Emma! Make him humble! I'll make you humble! Shot coming in by Madcap. Madcap charging over with a spear. Going against the ropes goes Scarlett grabbing a hold of Madcap. Ooh, into the ring post goes Emma. Scarlett and Emma on the outsides. In the ring, though, we've got Madcap and Carrion. Oh, forearm to the back of the head. He's grabbing a hold of Madcap. Straight jacket applied. Cross jacket. And that's it. So Emma got hurled into the ring post. And she went into the commentary table as well. What are they doing? What are they doing? Putting a mask on him. So they put a Rey Mysterio mask on him. That's nice. I lost the match, but he's gained a pretty cool looking mask. It's not a bad trade-off. Little gift. Little parting gift. Oh, it doesn't get, it doesn't go. It didn't get, TikTok. Right, let's turn this down. This is something for the lads. Right, they're just talking about Ronda and Charlotte. So, big breaking news coming out of SmackDown. Not that big, but fairly big. We actually had part of the show blacked out. At first, I did wonder if it was going to be something Bray or something along those lines. But then I realized it was a wardrobe malfunction. It was a momentary wardrobe malfunction. So here in the UK, we actually had this part of the show blacked out. Like, we never got to see this. But the footage is actually doing the rounds on Twitter. So it's big in the sense of you can now see what we didn't get chance to see here in the UK. But it seems like maybe in America, you didn't have it blacked out like we did here in the UK. So this was a censored moment here in the UK. I don't think it's that bad, hence why I'm showing it. But it's this moment here. So we actually got Scarlett in ring. She managed to deliver a suplex to Emma. As she was bridging, you can see that her breast became more exposed than I think she would want. It does seem to be that there is some tape that's over anything offensive. Anything out there that might upset people, I think is still covered. But you can see that it's certainly more exposed than I think what she would want and what WWE would want, and certainly what BT Sport would want. And this was actually not shown here in the UK. But as I said, there is footage all over social media showing this moment. You can see this clip was only a few seconds in length. And yeah, this is the moment where I think Scarlett shows maybe a little bit more than what she was expecting. As I said, maybe not quite as bad as what people think or thought it was. She seems to have some tape covering over anything that people might find offensive or maybe, you know, a little bit too far. But yeah, this is the moment that we never saw here in the UK. Coming up next, we've got Charlotte. Charlotte is coming onto the show next. The Queen returns to WWE. So looks like we are about to go over to commercial break. Dun, 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 dun. I think that's all right to show, innit? I don't think that's bad. Had it have been an actual, you know, nipple, a tittle, then maybe I would have had second thoughts. But there's what looks to me like tape covering it. So I don't think that's bad to show. Wardrobe malfunction. And let's be honest, if it was shown in America, I mean, yeah, I don't think I'm adding to anything here. It's already been seen by millions of people. Well, probably 1.6, 1.8, something along that kind of ballpark. You know? BT weren't happy though. BT weren't happy. They were uncomfortable. In my mind, there was a woman with some glasses sat there, looked like a librarian. And she was like, oh my God. Oh, censor. Where's the censor button? Just absolutely appalled at what she saw. Had to press the censor button quickly. And then she had to go and throw up because she was so upset at what she'd been exposed to. Think of the children! I am thinking of the children. I'm thinking of the children. I'm thinking of giving the children an education. Scarlett's got an OnlyFans. Has she? I didn't know that. Has she? She's got an OnlyFans and she's still allowed to work with WWE. Has she? I never knew. Seriously, if she has, I seriously never knew that. Seriously never knew that. What's your dream booking for LA Knight? Well, I just think he's a good talker. I can't say I'm a massive fan. It's not like I want him to go and be a champion and all this kind of stuff. I think just put him in really interesting feuds like what they're doing. Just give him plenty of opportunity to talk. And that's exactly what they're doing. They're giving him plenty of opportunity to talk. So, like, I think this feud's great. Him and other like faces that he can work with, that he can get plenty of talking time. Brilliant. Days, what do you think of Swarms versus Ryan Taylor? Don't know. I don't know. I haven't looked into the card, but it's not something. Then those kind of YouTubers, they're not YouTubers that I watch, so I have no idea. What I'll do is in the week towards the event, I will deep dive. That's what I tend to do. I mean, wasn't Swarms the person that took on KSI last time and he was awful? London, here we go. It's Money in the Bank. The Sun? Wasn't expecting to see the Sun on SmackDown. WWE is about to break the bank in London. It's cool, isn't it? That's such great news. Available now. You can get premium experiences. Woo! With Money in the Bank tickets. But Jake is fighting in MMA. Yeah. So weird, isn't it? I mean, he talks about wanting to be a world champion in boxing and putting the work in and taking it serious and all this kind of stuff. And then he turns around and says that he's going to fight an MMA fight. How does that make any sense? Hey, here's Drew and Sheamus. They're in a bar. I'm proud to call you an honorary brute. Honorary brute. Talking about the Donnybrook match. It's about exercise. William, hope you well, buds. Money in the Bank is nothing. Now you can use it on a mid-card belt. It's stupid, isn't it? That is such a stupid thing they did. I hate Triple H now. Hate him. Ruined wrestling. I'm glad Vince is coming back. Vince can come back and save wrestling from Triple H. Banger after banger. After banger. After banger. The whole bar's joining in? Why would the bar just join in on a personal conversation like that? They're just chatting away in a bar. And then all of a sudden, the rest of the bar just starts joining in. Banger after banger. The Banger Bros. Don't call them that. William Hensey's got a film called The Banger Bros. You definitely don't want to be called after that. The new SmackDown Women's Champion. Dun 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 dun. Charlotte making her way down. She's got a robe, which is cool. She didn't have a robe last week. Marion wins. We got Ray mask. I've got Money in the Bank. And then we had Sheamus and Drew. Reminiscing. Banger after banger. And now here's Charlotte. What time is it? Oh, we're at the halfway point. I actually thought, you know, it was a little bit later than that. Thought it was a little bit later. Okay, here's Charlotte then. Halftime scores. Yeah, we'll do them as soon as we get to the next commercial break. But Days, did you see Young Bucks are considering not re-signing? I didn't. To be honest, I didn't. I would imagine they will. I would imagine they will re-sign. I would imagine that it will be a case that they are just maybe playing hardball. Did you miss your queen? Don't think they did. Payback's okay, so Charlotte's in the ring. There's a thank you, Charlotte chant. There is a faint thank you, Charlotte chant. Thank you, Charlotte. Okay, she said, I was away for 8 months. She said, whether you love to hate me or hate to love me, I was genuinely overwhelmed by the reaction last Friday. So she's playing with the crowds, and they're playing along with her. Crowd seems to be having a bit of fun here. I've got passion, consistency, and dedication for what I do in this ring. She says that she'll knock down anyone that stands in her way, because that's what a champion does. That's what I've done 14 times. Who's coming out? Sonya Deville. No sign of Ronda. Sonya Deville coming out. So, Sonya. The hillbillies in this building might not be bright enough. There should be an asterisk next to number 14. She's ready to wrestle, isn't she? I reckon we're about to get a match here. I think we're about to get Sonya versus Charlotte. What is that? I can't hear what they're chanting. a trick. I don't get that. I don't know what they're chanting. Okay, so Sonya's stepping up to Charlotte. What were they chanting? Whoop that trick. What does that mean? The hell does that mean? You missed my super chat. I'm sorry, Mitchell. See if I can find it. I think I've missed Smart Brander as well. Still not giving any alerts, is it? Whoop that trick. I don't get this. I'm just a boomer, aren't I? What the flip does that mean? What does whoop that trick mean? Yeah, trick. What does that mean? It's rap song lyrics. Whoop that trick is an American thing. What does it mean? What does it mean? Whoop that trick. I'm going to have to Google this. Oh, you kids. What are you on about? Whoop that trick. Whoop that trick. It was from Hustle and Flow. The old track. But what's that got to do with Sonya? What the flip? Steph Curry and the Warriors took a beating prior to Game 5. Prior to Game 5, ESPN's Kendra Andrews asked Curry what the plan was for the closeout game, and she reported that he said, whoop that trick, referring to the song that has become the Grizzlies' rallying cry during the postseason. When's this from? 2022, May 12th, 2022. Those were regrettable words by Curry as the Grizzlies handed the Warriors a historic 134-95 loss. This is how you whoop that trick. Do you think if there's a magician that people really love and they're about to do a trick, the crowd are like, whoop that trick, and he's like, here we go, whoa, let's go in the hat, a rabbit, yeah, whoop that trick, whoop that trick, whoop that trick, whoop that trick. Sick. From the film Hustle and Flow, which if I go back into my fantastic movie knowledge, I already know is like from 2005 or something like this, but let me just... Oh, it is 2005, you know. That is nice. That is nice. I mean, I did used to work in an entertainment store, so I did have a bit of an advantage there. But no way would I have thought I could have got it exact. But I know it's a mid-2000s film. 2005, apparently the track is from that film. Why the flip are people saying, I've never heard this before, whoop that trick? Why are we now saying songs from 17 years ago? Are we going to, next week, are we going to take her to the candy shop? Take her to the candy shop. I'm Slim Shady. Make her the real Slim Shady. What are we even doing? What is this? Amazing. Mitchell, what was your comment? I can't get to it. Oh, there's more now. I still haven't heard any alerts. Take her to the candy shop. There's Randy's. Right, let's get Ryan. Ryan said it's a reference to the movie Hustle and Flow. Why? That doesn't. It does answer, but what it does is it now provides more questions because Hustle and Flow is not a film that came out last year. It's a film that came out in 2005. Why are we referencing 2005 films in 2022? What other films came out in 2005 that we can start referencing? Get Rich or Die Trying. That came out. Devil's Rejects came out. the greatest game ever played by Disney. The Island, do you remember that film? Into the Blue. War of the Worlds with Tom Cruise, that came out. Flight Plan, Jarheads, Goal, The Longest Yards, The Constant. I'm just looking. This is a bad year for films, wasn't it? There's a lot of rubbish here. There we go. God only knows what songs are going to be referenced next week. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy came out in 2005. Did you ever watch Hustle and Flow? I didn't, no. Did you listen to 3-6 Mafia, Whoop That Trick? I've never heard it. I never saw the film. I never listened to the song. I know that it's a bit of a cult classic film. It's a film that I've seen loads of. As I said, I used to work in an entertainment store, so I used to put the film out a lot for sale. It's one of those that would constantly like sell, tick over. It's got, I don't want to say like a cult following. It's not, I wouldn't say it was that. It's not Friday, but it's one that like still people buy and enjoy. But it's just random to me that I've never heard anyone say whoop that trick. I've never heard that in my life. And here we are in 2022 and a crowd are chanting it. That's interesting to me. Whoop that trick. It's because they're in Memphis. I'll take it to the candy shop, says AR1. I'll take it to the candy. I'll take you to the candy shop. Okay, so they're in Memphis, and it was the Grizzlies that had it as a rallying song. So I think that's okay. We're starting to get a little bit of a connection. I was just looking for Mitchell. Mitchell, don't super chat it. Just type in your comment. I'll read it. Same with Svarta Brander as well. Type in your comment. I'll read it. I'm keeping an eye out right now. What channel are you watching Davis fight on tomorrow? Fight TV. They keep chanting whoop that trick. I thought they knew Golden State beat them in the playoffs. Mitchell said, if Top Dollar wins Money in the Bank and the Rumble, do you think he'll challenge for both sets of tag titles? So annoying. So annoying. I mean, I don't think there's any danger of him winning the Rumble and winning Money in the Bank, is there, to be honest? So I don't think we need to worry about it. Charlotte wins. Charlotte wins. Charlotte gets a win over Sonya. I hated the film Top Gun, but I love the theme tune, Take My Breath Away. Perhaps they'll chant that next week. Take her breath away, Charlotte. Take her breath away. There's a new law filed in America where companies are banned from placing non-compete clauses, and that individuals should be free to sign with rivals as soon as they get let go. Well, that's interesting. That's interesting. Dun, 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 na, 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 na. Oh yeah, we're looking at the Cody thing now. Figure 8. No Ronda. That's interesting, isn't it? That's interesting. Do you remember last week we were like, why are they doing all this at the same time? And now here we are a week later and it doesn't look like Ronda's on this show. That's why. Wrestle Andy said, when they come to London, we need the crowd to start chanting the lyrics to Maggie May. I'm fairly certain any London crowd is going to sing Sweet Caroline, to be honest. That's the go-to, isn't it? Sweet Caroline is everywhere. I don't know that it's going away. Or we need Tyson Fury to get in and he'll do American Pie again. That's not a problem. Got to be a good chance that Fury will be involved at Money in the Bank. Apparently, they had big plans for him, but he can't get a visa. Apparently, getting a visa is really difficult at the moment. That's why Doudrop's not been on TV, because she's got visa problems. And apparently, Tyler Bates having visa problems. And what's going on? What's going on, America? Eh? Keeping all of us British locked out? It's probably wise, in all fairness. Probably wise. Now it's getting to the point where if WWE want to do something with a British superstar, they got to come over to Britain. Maybe that's why they're bringing Money in the Bank out. They desperately want Doudrop to win the women's Money in the Bank, and she can't get a visa. So if you can't bring Doudrop to Money in the Bank, you bring Money in the Bank to Doudrop. That's what you do. That's what you do. Boom. I'm sick of hearing Maggie May. I used to love it, but everyone's singing it now at the karaoke, says Maggie Lusk. Rhonda apparently has said she's done with singles championship, says Jim. Jim, shout out to you. Hope you're well, buds. Adrenaline in my soul, something, Cody Rhodes, says Mr. Hoods. I honestly don't care for Tom Cruise, but I like the song from Top Gun. Okay. WWE fan said, isn't it interesting? We ain't seen Bray yet. Maybe we don't see him until the Rumble now. But the sister Abigail made him become the Fiend. We haven't seen Bray yet. We won't see him until the Rumble now. Maybe the sister Abigail made him become the Fiend. Maybe. Right, to be continued. For that, bruised boob. It's building towards his return, isn't it? It's definitely building towards his return. Right, here is Ricochet versus... Oh, it's time. Is this not the main event? Is this not the main event? What the flip? This isn't the main event. Ricochet versus Top Dollar. What are we even doing here? As long as we don't see old Vince McMahon, it'll be a good night. Gaming with Mars said, where is Bray Wyatt? He might still make an appearance. We've still got 40 minutes. Darcy said, Charlotte is so great on the microphone. It's such a breath of fresh air for the SmackDown women's division after Ronda. Is it crazy to put her on your women's Mount Rushmore maybe eventually? No, I wouldn't say it's crazy to do that. I mean, she's a 14-time champion. For that reason alone, she would be in the conversation. She was part of the first women's main event at WrestleMania. She was of the three the least focused on, but she was in there. She's the daughter of Ric Flair, 14-time world champion. No, I don't think it's crazy to talk about Charlotte being on a women's Mount Rushmore. I don't know that she would be on that Mount Rushmore for me, but she would be in the conversation. She's certainly ahead of the likes of Kelly and Tori Wilson and Stacy Keibler. Like, she easily gets past all of those. So she's definitely on, I would say, a short list. We are at commercial break. Yeah, I'll tell you what. Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. I really want to know your halftime scores. Put it in the chat. Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. Are you happy? It's the halftime scores. Are you happy or you sad? Halftime scores, everybody. It's the halftime scores. I should get that recorded. If I got it recorded, I could just press play then. Just sit here like this. Here we go then. People putting in their scores. People putting in their scores. So we have got 6.76, 7.5, 7, 6, 6, 7. Wes said his name should be Flop. Stop on your top dollar. Stop on your top. Flop. Stop on your top dollar. I don't know if you've seen WWE. They like to get rid of names, not add to them. We should just be surprised his name's not just Dollar, to be honest. Edward, I ended it. I ran away. Very good. Mosey, the wrestling god, said 7. Amar said 6. Nathan said 6. Daniel said 7.5. Andrew says 8. Legend said 7.5. Braden said 6.8. Iania says 7. David said 7.5. Top tier said 6. 6.5 from Danny. 5.5 from Jojo. 1 Minute Wrestler with a 7. LS Dub with a 6.25. JB with a 5. Mid Central. LD Cool with a 7. Yeah, I think this is a tricky one to score, to be honest, because I think in-ring wise has been a bit flat. I mean, I didn't think that Kofi and Escobar was very good at all. The mixed tag match was interesting, but Scarlett was quite limited. Plodding. She did a couple of nice moves. Obviously, the one that resulted in the slippage. You know what I mean? Calm down. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. The in-ring's been a bit flat, hasn't it? But that first segment with Roman screaming at Sammy, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. So, yeah, I can understand people being a bit down on this one. Here's Lacey. Here we go. Yes. Look at this. She's surrounded by 3 girls. Bring it on. She's in the Performance Center. Hey, this is interesting. I've never seen this Performance Center. Where's this Performance Center? Oh, WWE. I've never seen this Performance Center before. Obviously, the old Performance Center is what they use now for NXT. I was under the impression that they had another warehouse. I've seen money. I've seen them training in this really small warehouse, and it had 3 rings literally side by side. Like you could walk from one ring to the next ring to the next ring, and then there was a little walkway in front of the rings, and that was it. That was it. It was really small. That was not that place. That was a different place. I've not seen that place before. So looks like they've got a newish Performance Center, but I mean, it could have been around for a while, and they've just not announced it. But that was interesting. Haven't seen any news on that. Probably last year. It probably passed me by. Top Dollar's looking angry. Right, here we go then. Top Dollar against Ricochet. Dream match. Dream match. Ricochet up. Oh, he's got full-blown Undertaker. Full-blown Undertaker. Yes. Top Dollar's lost a lot of weight, in all fairness. Big boot. 1, 2. Kick out by Ricochet. With no due respect, Charlotte can go home and help her brother refinance peeps, says Bob. Don't know what that means. Is there some scandal involving her brother? Not heard of it. Dave's very surprised Dynamite only did 864. Yeah, I agree. Coming out of the holidays, no competition, new look, and it didn't garner much interest. The only thing I would say is I don't think the new look hurt. I don't think there's any way that the new look drove people away. So without a new look, there's potential for it to have been even worse. But yeah, I must admit, I was expecting it to be at least in the 900,000. And actually, do you know what? It's really strange because normally, like for Dynamite over Christmas, our watch-alongs have been doing about 5,000 views, something like that. The one this week did 8,000 views. So coming out of that stream, I felt pretty good that they'd had a good week. I looked at, like, you know, I know the watch-alongs, you know, you can't use that as a gauge for their ratings, but we saw a big increase between like what we normally get and what we got on Wednesday for the watch-along. So there was seemingly an increase in interest, but it just didn't translate to TV ratings, which I thought was very interesting. Ricochet has won. Damn it! That means Top Dollar's not going to be in the Rumble. You're telling me you've got a superstar that struggled to get over the top rope and you've decided to not put him in the Rumble. When are people going to open their eyes? Triple H is killing this company. Killing it. Now Top Dollar's not in the Rumble. It's a disgrace. We want Vince. We want Vince. We want Vince. We want Vince. We need Vince to come and whoop that trick. Whoop that trip. Whoop that trip. Whoop that trip. Whoop that trip. Oh, hello. Yes. They're beating up Ricochet. This is good. You think you're better than me? Oh, I've said all that. I love Triple H. Oh, look at that by B-Fab. B-Fab kicks Ricochet in the face. Now, Ashante. Mess him up. Make him humble. Make him humble. Get him up. Get this guy up. Oh, brutal words by B-Fab. Get this guy up. You know this guy. Get him up. Oh, he gets planted. Oh. No, money. That makes a lot more sense now, they're heels. The money thing is so annoying, and it makes a lot more sense now. Here's Braun. Braun's coming down. Braun chasing Hit Row away. Why is Braun wear? Why is it all in red these days? Why does Braun wear red? Come on! Strowman. God, imagine if he beats up Ricochet now. That'd be hilarious. I'd love that. Imagine if he beats up Ricochet. Ricochet thinks he's safe, and now he gets destroyed by Braun. Right, we're in the locker room of the Bloodline. Wise man. Bring me Sammy. Bring me Sammy. Wise man. Bring me Sammy. Wise man. Bring me Sammy. Woo! Days, how was WWE in 2020? Was it bad or good? What was the moment? The training center retribution, debut, return, Thunderdome. What was good? What was bad? It was bad. Horrible. Hated it. I actually thought the performance center stuff was all right. The thing with that was so the thing with the performance center was that it was quite exciting at first because, I mean, when have we seen wrestling without fans? When have we had empty and like trying to see how? But do you remember the Stone Cold moment where Stone Cold was like cutting some lines and he would turn to the commentary table and Byron was holding up scorecards. He was scoring his promo. Like they were having to find different ways of engaging people at home. Some of them worked and some of them didn't. That Byron moment was horrible. It's a horrible segment. There's a great Undertaker segment where he attacks Gallows and Anderson in the Performance Center. That was really cool. I think, wasn't it the first night where Michael Cole was on his own and Triple H was doing commentary with him, and then Triple H is like doing the camera work and everything. There are some really good moments during that Performance Center period. Retribution when they first attack as well, and like we were quite excited about where it was going. That attack is amazing. Like there's a guy with a chainsaw cutting the ropes and they all invade, and like that's really good. Obviously, then, though, it becomes Retribution with T-Bar and Slapjack and, the stupid masks and everything. I can't tell you much about the Thunderdome. I thought the Thunderdome was rubbish. I thought it was rubbish. I thought when you first saw it, you were like, okay, we've got some reactions now, which is going to help. But the problem is, like, it didn't work. It just didn't work. Like, you couldn't get a sense of any kind of atmosphere from those reactions. So, and WWE acknowledged that by having to pump in fake audience sounds. So you had fake cheering and fake booing. You had fake sounds because the facial expressions, people weren't that expressive. It's not like something was happening and everyone was like, do you know what I mean? It's not like the screens were giving us these big reactions. A lot of the time, you just had people just sat there watching, looking a bit, not bored, but they were just watching it in the comfort of their own home. People were excited to get onto TV, but then they didn't think to themselves, oh, I'm on TV, I'm part of the show. They just sat there and were like, watching, which is fine. I mean, they've got no obligation, but, apparently people were coming in going, right, we need you to clap now. Like, they were having to tell them what to do because people watching in the comfort of their own home, they're not thinking about applauding and they're not thinking about cheering at home. Like, it's a weird thing to do, isn't it? I mean, if you're just sat in the comfort of your own home and you're having like something to drink and you're watching the show, you might even forget you're like on camera momentarily or whatever. Like, you're just watching the show. So, like, it didn't work. It just didn't work. They had to tell them what to do. They had to put in fake crowd noises. I thought the Thunderdome was a real step down, actually. I actually, if I was to go back to 2020 and watch a part of the 2020 year, 100% I'm going for Performance Center. I'm going Performance Center, and I'm going maybe for a Bayley match. I mean, Bayley was killing it at that time. She was so good. MVP for me, and for a lot of people, I think. She was doing this is where a lot of the back and forth with Michael Cole came from. She was doing some really good stuff, really fun. Her and Sasha, and there was some good stuff. You can't say it was all bad. There was a few nice moments in there, but I think wrestling without a crowd is just it's not good. We really learned that lesson. Crowds are so important. Like, look at last week's Raw, where the crowd were dead and we were sat there going like, this crowd sucks. And it really affects the show. Right, next week, Braun is going to take on Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship. Sammy is here. Right, here we go. Here we go. You wanted to see me? Let me see. I've got to just say this. I acknowledge you. Everyone does. You're the tribal chief. It's not even a question. No one's questioning that. I'm not trying to be the tribal chief. If there's anything I did that gave you that impression, then I'm sorry. So Sammy apologizes. I don't accept it, says Roman. I hold myself to a high standard. At the end of the day, I've got to control my anger. No one deserves that. In front of the whole world. Are you going to apologize to him? Yeah, I should apologize to you. I shouldn't have spoke to you the way I did. Sammy says it's fine. He was right. Kevin Owens is right. I'm not mad at you. I'm mad at him. And I'm taking it out on you. Ah, this story is so good. We're going to fix it, says Roman. So Roman apologizes to Sammy of all things. Next week, live on SmackDown, one-on-one, Sammy. Is it against KO? Versus Kevin Owens. Next week. Oh, God. He's going to lose, isn't he? Let's do it. I will take care of it for you. Oh, God. Hey, let's watch this together. Oh, Sammy. Sammy is going to lose. Said let him in, I know. No. Oh. He's so happy in the bloodline, isn't he? Oh. Usos. Greg. Oh. I can't be the only one that doesn't want it to end. I don't want him to leave. It's been so good. I know that the future's going to be bright for him. And I know that he'll get like a big tag title match. He'll get a match against Roman. The rumors are he'll get a match with Roman. Don't think he wins that match, unfortunately. But those are the rumors. So, you know, he's going to get main event match. He's going to get big match at WrestleMania and all this kind of stuff. But he's been so happy. The problem is, you know, have they got a long-term plan for Sammy? Sammy's like so over right now. The problem is this is a big change. And if he does come out, like, he's so over and it's working so well that it's a real gamble to end it. You've got to end it at some point, and it is WrestleMania season. So now it does make sense, but like, hurts, done it. Do you think those Thunderdomes was a fan on camera with a New Day shirt, takes it off to reveal AEW hoodie and WWE? Do you think those Thunderdomes was a fan on camera? Do you think those Thunderdomes was a fan on camera with the New Day shirt, AEW? Don't know what you mean. I mean, there was things happening on those screens that, you know, shouldn't have been happening. And did a video. I did a video on that, actually. It still gets people commenting on that video. I did a video on it, right? I mean, there's a guy that's wearing like a Ku Klux Klan outfit. And there's another person that... what else were they doing? There was other things as well, which they had, but the KKK outfit is the one that sticks in my mind. I still get people sending me comments on that video calling me a snowflake. Stop being such a snowflake. It's a lovely world out there, guys. It's a lovely world. So, yeah, I remember I did a video about like the some of the stuff that was on the screen. It was absolutely appalling. Absolutely appalling. That's the problem in it. I mean, like, there's no way of knowing who's coming in, and you're not necessarily going to catch what someone's doing on a camera until it's too late. Like, I mean, I'm not aware. You can't really put a delay on because all the reactions would be delayed. But in all fairness, there was no. I can't remember any big reactions anyway. It was just a really regrettable mess, to be honest. It's something that I'm quite happy to never see again. Right, Drew and Sheamus versus the Usos. Usos. Days, wasn't there someone that flashed themselves? I remember. Off the top of my head, you know. Can't remember. I remember what's in that video. I remember there being lots of toys. I remember there being like people would hide and they'd just have Kermit the Frog or someone. I mean, that doesn't matter, does it? No, I'm not bothered by that. That's funny. But there was definitely offensive thing. There could have been someone that flashed. Yeah, could have been. I seriously can't remember. The KKK one is one that I remember being absolutely appalled by, and you know, you see something like that, and you think to yourself, how has this got this far? How has this got this far? How has this been able to get on TV? So, but it's in the past, isn't it? What did WWE end up doing with all those screens? I don't know. I mean, they probably, I'm guessing, rented them, maybe? I don't know. I mean, like, where would a Thunderdome be used? Like, where would that technology need to be used? I mean, I don't know if they just rented a load of screens or what they did. I can't imagine they bought them. But in all fairness, I mean, they did use it for a long time. So I don't know that I can say they got the money out of it, but they definitely needed to find a way of getting a bit more of an atmosphere. And you can argue as to whether it worked or didn't work. For me, I suppose having faces on screen allowed them to play fake noise and make it seem at least realistic. Because had they have not had anyone there and they played fake noise, you rightfully would have gone, where's this noise coming from? Whereas your average Joe might not have thought about it too much, might not have thought that noise was fake, if you know what I mean. So maybe to the casuals, it had some sort of a desired effect. I don't know, but for me, it was awful, just awful. Hate it. I can't even think of really anything I'd want to go back at that time to watch. I can't even think of any great Thunderdome moment. I remember having this conversation before, and some people did come up with a couple. But if I was going back to 2020, as I said, I'd definitely go back to Performance Center. Right, we're going back to WWE. We've got 16 minutes left of the show. This is for the tag titles. Sheamus and Drew taking on the Usos. We're back from commercial break. Are you going to watch this year's Super Bowl? Who would you love to see win it? I don't know anything about American football. Will I watch it? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, we do normally watch it, in all fairness. Probably live on the second channel, though, rather than this one. I'm a bit worried about it. I keep getting told all the time, like, you got to be really careful with the Super Bowl. Like, apparently there's pubs and bars that aren't allowed to use the logo. You have to pay to even use the logo and all this kind of stuff. So it's one of those where I really don't know much about it. I mean, I'm quite happy to admit I don't know anything about it. And we have watched it. We've done watch-longs for it. We always have a good time. So I do like it. Who's the halftime show this year? Is it Rihanna? In my head, it's Rihanna. Oh, no. Halftime Super Bowl. Who is halftime? Rihanna. Rihanna will take the stage. Demand for tickets have shot up since she was announced. Riri hasn't released a song in 6 years, but the drought finally ended with Lift Me Up. I haven't heard that. Which dropped in late October. Well, I mean, she's one of those artists that's had so many hits. I mean, I used to work in an entertainment store, so like she went through a period of like it felt like every year, near enough every Christmas, she had a new album out. She was so prolific at like putting out new music. She was on a hell of a roll. Absolutely incredible. So like the amount of songs that she's got that people would know that I'm sure even I've forgotten about would be very, very impressive. Singles. Ponder Replay. Even that one I'd forgot. Ponder Replay from 2005. That was their first hit. Ponder Replay. I don't know if it's Lovin' that you want. I don't know that. SOS. Perfect for Kofi. Unfaithful. Probably know it for Heard It. We Ride. Don't know that. Break It Off. Actually, I don't know these. I know Umbrella. Shut Up and Drive. Hate That I Love You. Don't Stop the Music. Take a Bow. Disturbia. Rehab. Russian Roulette. Rude Boy. What's My Name? There's quite a lot here I don't know, actually. We Found Love, I know that. Talk That Talk? I know Princess of China with Coldplay. Diamonds. God, she's got load. That'll be a good halftime show, actually. She's released 53 singles as an artist. 53? 53? The flip? 53 as a lead artist? That's mental. That should be good. And you know she's going to put on a big show as well. I hope she does Ponder Replay. Right, Drew, on the outsides. You know the US Congress voting thing you was talking about? I think they've made it to 14th and 15th. Political boxing. Wow, that's mental. Didn't he say that he had enough votes now? He came out and said he had enough votes, didn't he? Has that happened and he still hasn't? Let's have a look. What's BBC saying? Oh, here we go. McCarthy said he's got votes. Frontrunner has lost 13 rounds. The House will reconvene in 10 minutes. The House reconvenes in 10 minutes. So he reckons he's got enough now. He reckons he's got enough. He has lost 13 rounds of voting. It's funny, isn't it? It's funny. Again, let me stress this. I'm not political. I couldn't care if this was a Republican or if it was a Democrat. I don't care. Really don't care. But what's funny is this guy's tried 13 times to get elected. And it's not happening. He keeps having to go back. And it's a big story. I was talking about it the other day. It's one of our big stories. It's our second biggest story here in the UK. Just behind all the Harry drama, of course. So yeah, Harry's book is the biggest talking point here. And then what's going on with McCarthy. So yeah, apparently 10 minutes time he'll try again. Oh God, I hope it fails. I just want it to keep going. It's just fun. I'm just having a great time. I mean, he'll get in eventually, won't he? So if you are politically minded, he'll get in. I'm sure he'll get in eventually. He will make it eventually. But it's just fun for us neutrals to just watch it just play out and see, like, what number are we going to get to? You could take bets on it, couldn't you? I feel like the next one's looking pretty good. He seems quite confident that he'll get in on the next one. He seems quite confident, but imagine if he doesn't. Imagine if he's still like one short, and none of them are budging. I mean, what would happen then? I don't even know what happens at that point. In a dull world, It's just a bit of entertainment in it. Bit of entertainment from the political world. Maggie said no Bray yet. No. Sonny said they just keep voting. They just keep going. They should have handed the election over to UFC judges. After 14 rounds, it goes to decision. Well, geez, anyone would win it then. If we go to UFC judges, LS Dub, who knows who gets it? John from the local Chick-fil-A might get in. I don't know. Anyone could have it. Pretty sure when it comes to UFC judging, they just put both names in a bag and just pluck one out. Doesn't really matter what you actually did in the fight. Here we go then. Sheamus raining down big clubbing blows. Bang, bang, bang. Crowds chanting along as Sheamus rains down these shots. Crowd having a good time. Banger after banger after banger. Sammy's got popcorn. He's offering it to Roman. Roman doesn't want any popcorn. Yeah, Heyman will. Heyman will. Sammy gave Roman popcorn. Roman was like looking at it. Heyman couldn't stop Heyman. There was no stopping Heyman. I wish Heyman had been licking his lip. I wish he'd got a whole hand of it as well. Started stuffing his pockets. I love that. That's great. That's great. Paddy is going to win. Yeah, Paddy. Paddy will win, you're right. Paddy will be the new speaker. Can you watch NXT Level Up after SmackDown? No, we do the review after SmackDown. Will you be continuing this through 2 hours AEW after Banger? No, we don't do Rampage. We used to. Boring. I think it is better now, though. But in all fairness, we were doing these streams, and you'd have SmackDown views. When you got to Rampage, just fell off a cliff. So I think it makes more sense for me to commit to doing the reviews every week instead, because the demand just doesn't seem to be there for Rampage, to be honest. I think it gets 400,000 views compared to about half of Dynamite in it. But then saying that, it's only an hour rather than Dynamite that's 2. But that's not really how ratings work. We got Solo on the outside. We had Stereo White Noises by Drew and Sheamus. Drew and Sheamus in control. I love that popcorn moment. Oof, net breaker there by Drew. Bang, and another one. Hip up there by Drew. Drew going against the ropes. Over the top rope, comes crashing down onto the Usos. Usos. In the ring goes the Usos. AEW is doing 2 hours tonight. They might actually have some that you might not want to miss. Doubt it. 1, 2. Bang. Save. Usos keeping hold of their titles after Drew went over the top, came crashing down onto both of them. Chucked Jimmy into the ring. Jimmy Uso with barely anything left in the tank. Now Roman, they've all got their own popcorns. Even Roman's eating popcorn. This would have been a really good advert if they were sponsored by popcorn. In fact, aren't they sponsored by Papa John's or something? SmackDown is brought to you by Papa John's. They should be eating Papa John. And actually, I don't think Roman should be eating popcorn. I think Heyman should have 2 buckets. Imagine if Heyman had 2 buckets. 1 for each hand. See, this is the bad booking of Triple H. You don't give Roman popcorn. Roman's cool. He's the tribal chief. Yeah, he doesn't need popcorn. Heyman needs 2 buckets of popcorn. It's bad booking, guys. It's really bad booking. In my notes, I've got popcorn, and now I'm writing more popcorn. My review will feature 2 popcorn moments. As every review should. Oh, big shot by Solo to Drew. Picks up Drew, plants him on the barricades. Solo, Sikoa. I love Solo's presentation. Here's Butch comes running down. Ridge Holland come down. The Brawling Brutes. They're trying to deal with Solo. They do deal with Solo. Carnage in the ring. Super kick there by Jimmy. Oh, brogue by Sheamus. Brogue by Sheamus. 1, 2. And Jay pulls Jimmy out of the ring. Jay pulls Jimmy out of the ring. Days, can you stream the best of the Rumble on Sunday? I don't know. I don't know what we're doing on Sunday. Right, we got Sheamus up top. Sheamus comes down. Ooh, that looked a bit messy. Comes down on the Usos. Up on the shoulders. Boot to the midsection. Roll up. 1, 2. Oh, good teamwork by the Usos. The Usos get the win. The Usos are victorious. Yeah, look at... Oh, he's made a right mess. More popcorn. Sammy makes a mess. So, Sammy celebrating. Popcorn all over the floor. Roman didn't look impressed. See, Usos get it done this week. If Sammy's not going to get it done next week, he's going to really expose himself to be a weak link, isn't he? Going to really expose himself to be a weak link. Sammy had the bucket. It was like, yeah. That was fun, man. I mean, the match was fun, and there was a lot of fun moving parts there as well. And the popcorn stuff really elevated that match for me. What do you score WWE Smackdown? Smackdown. Smackdown, Smackdown. Smackdown, Smackdown. Let's just get a very, very quick gauge as to what people thought. And we will run away. This is of the evening. Right, we've got the poll up. Get in your thoughts. The show has come to an end. So we are done with this week's SmackDown. No Bray is the headline. No Bray. No Bray Wyatt. That's going to upset people. So a lack of Brayage. 7, 6.5, 8. I'm about to make some popcorn, said Justin. No Bray. Mitchell said I'm in the 7 to 7.5 range. 5% 5. Minus 5 points because no Bray. Who do you think will dethrone Roman? I don't know, I don't know. I think it's tricky. I feel like it's tricky. I don't know if it... I mean, I don't think the plan is... clearly, the plan's not to have him defend in the Rumble. And I don't think the plan's to have him defend in Elimination Chamber. So it feels like it's going to have to be a face that beats him. Because I can't imagine them having a heel beat Roman. So that means a face is going to beat him. So maybe Kevin does it. Maybe Owens is the one that does it. I don't... But then saying that, I think the rumors are that for WrestleMania, it's going to be Owens and Sammy going after the tag belts. So that would suggest that Owens doesn't do it. So I feel like it's got to be Cody. Cody's got to be the one to do it. But how are we going to do it? Unless we're still doing the 2-night WrestleMania thing. I mean, look, if you can't have The Rock, if for some reason The Rock is not at this WrestleMania, it is an absolute no-brainer that you do Cody versus Roman. It's just a no-brainer. So that's, the most obvious booking thing ever in the history of ever. But it's a bit more complicated if you can do The Rock. If The Rock is going to be at this year's WrestleMania, then it becomes a bit more complicated. The weather thing was wrong. It was supposed to snow. There's a huge twist coming. Reigns is going to get diabetes from eating that popcorn. Bum, bum, bum. Right, I said we weren't sticking around long, and I'm a man of my words. So how many votes we had? We had 250 votes. Do need to go because I always chuck up that review after on the second channel. I want to go and do that. So let's end this poll. And I'm sure many of you want to go and do other things like maybe watch NXT Level Up or Rampage. Right, here we go then. We had 260 votes, which considering the poll was only up for all of like 2 minutes is pretty good. 7 to 775, 37%, 8 to 10, 28%, 675 to 6, 16%, 575 or below, 16% as well. So bit split, to be honest. It looks like the 7s took it, of course. 8 to 10 in second position, but this one definitely felt a little bit more around the 7s. I think there was some good Bloodline stuff here, though, but I think the lack of Bray has probably upset people. I said before, for quite a while we were talking, I was saying I'm definitely ready for some answers. Sadly, we didn't get any. And who knows? I mean, look, maybe we get something next week. I can understand them after last week where Bray got attacked wanting to just maybe sell that for a week and, have Bray take this week off. So, I don't know, probably should have foreseen that maybe. I definitely foresaw the Ronda not being around thing because I, as said, wondered why we'd had Charlotte come back and Charlotte win all within the same week. But maybe the Bray being attacked could have foreseen Bray not being on the show. But I was expecting him. We didn't get him. And it is a shame. But we did get some other stuff as well. There is some talking points here. And obviously next week is going to be huge because Roman lost his call with Sammy this week. What's he going to do when Sammy loses to Kevin Owens? Awesome, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. Appreciate you joining us and the support as always. Don't forget, we are back tomorrow with the boxing. So if you are interested in watching Tank Davis, we're here for that. We did his last fight. Amazing. I'm a big fan. The knockout victory he got, he was actually backing up against the ropes, threw out what looked to be a jab and managed to knock out his opponent in his last fight last year. Real big star. I mean, one of the biggest stars in boxing, and he's got a big test on his hands tomorrow. A lot of people are saying that it's a bit of an easy fight for him. This is a world champion, and it is a fight I'm expecting Tank to win, but I don't know how straightforward it's going to be. So I'm interested, and obviously big fights coming up for Tank if he does get the win, namely against Ryan Garcia. But that's tomorrow. So we've got that tomorrow. So, yeah, if you are around, come and swing by, say hello, and hopefully I will see you then.